This part of the video was actually taped in July. Hey everybody, I have got to change my knives this morning. I have been cutting pastures and my oat field, and that does not need to have sharp knives, and so I put on an old set of knives. But now as I go into July, the good grass is a little bit tougher to cut in early June, and all through June grass cuts really easy, but as you go into July it does seem to cut quite a bit harder, so I like to have really good knives. So this is my new set that I'm going to put on. It's all brand new teeth. We replaced them all. The new ones come with rivets, but if you just knock the rivets out, and the new ones that I put on come with bolts, so you can just bolt them right on. So that's what we've done with this. So now I'm going to drop the cutter bar down and take the old one out. It's best to do this when the horses are either hitched to the mower, or if you have something underneath the tongue to lift the tongue up in the air so the cutter bar comes out properly. So to take the cutter bar, the sections out, all I need is this punch right here. I take off the nut. A lot of times people will have a wing nut here, which is a lot easier than just a regular nut. I put it in my pocket. And very carefully take the rod out and let this down very slowly. This rod right here, when you're mowing, goes right in that latch. I'll get a closer look here so you can see how I do it. So I'm on the front of the cutter bar, but the horses are tied, so I'm perfectly safe. You take the pitman rod and slide it back here a little ways. You'll see there's a hole right there. If I position that punch in that hole and press down my foot, that will drop that down. Here was the hole right here. That would drop that down. Push down the foot, and that will usually pop right out of there, just like that. So now that's free. And very carefully push the cutter bar back, my fingers a little bit, and I come around the other side. Hold the pitman rod up. I should be able to grab that cutter bar and easily pull it out by hand. So here's the old set of knives. A bad one there. Pretty beat up. Some are serrated, some are smoothed. That has been used for a while. So very carefully now, we will slide the new one in, holding the pitman up. And it should slide right in quite easy. I know at times over the years I've had it pretty snug with those hold downs. Now I feel that I want it loose, and it works so much better. So I have hardly any pressure on those hold downs at all. I'm very particular with my knives. I want my cutter bars sharp. I will sharpen them a few times sometimes, but I don't do it too much. I just replace all the knives. By replacing the knives as opposed to buying a whole new section is a lot cheaper. So I just like to have them sharp, so I just replace them all. So cutter bars in place. Now it's just a matter of putting the pitman back on the ball. So that's over the head of the ball. You can just actually push down like that. It snaps right in place, the first part. Now I can usually just take my fingers, my thumb on this end, my fingers back here, and flip that right in place. It's very easy. So now I'll put the mower back up. Put the arm up, locked in place. And I'll take the rod. And when I pick this up, I'm very careful to keep my fingers out of the way. What happens when you pick that up, the knives themselves slide back down a ways until they catch, and that's when they'll get you. Okay, I pulled my second mow machine out of the shed, thinking maybe I can get a little bit of help mow with 2 teams for the second cutting. Hopefully I can get one of the girls or Brenda maybe to help me. But this tongue on this mower I broke last year, just the end of it off. It's still a very solid tongue, but as you can see, it's got quite a twist to it. This is not flat, kind of twisted around. So I mean, the proper way to do this is to tear the whole thing apart and put a whole complete new tongue in here. But many times when I've broken tongues at the end and the rest is still okay, I just actually patch it up, and they work sometimes for years that way. So here's an old tongue that I had. It's got a end on it already. So all I'm going to do is decide where to cut it. Maybe cut it about here, I'm not sure, and cut this about here, and bolt that right onto here. It's a little bit leveler here, not so twisted as it is up there, so I'm thinking if I come back here, it'll make a little bit better tongue that way. I know, because I measured it on my other mow machine, it's just about 10 foot, actually 9 foot 8 to 10 foot to from evener to neck yoke. So that's what I'm going to shoot to do. I'm measuring right from the hook, from the hitch point. Right where the neck yoke is hitched. That's about 9/10. I'm tempted to go just a little bit longer to get me out there where I'd like to be. Of course, by doing what I'm doing, I'm going to end up with actually a little bit more weight on this tongue. These pieces are both quite dry, so they're not as heavy as if they were green. We're cut right there and hope for the best. Okay, this morning I got my mow machine all fixed, the tongue on it. I'm going to show you what I did to that. And then this afternoon we picked a few stones out of the hayfield that we needed to be done for quite some time. And I just raked my field of second cutting that I have out here, and it's not quite ready, and hopefully we'll get a couple hours of sunshine still even this evening and be able to bale it up yet. But I just decided to still have the horses right here, and I decided we're going to just hitch them onto this mow machine and make sure this still works. It worked okay last year. So anyways, as you can see, what I did is I took that other tongue and put it on this one, and I got 3 bolts through there. I did take it in my sawmill and actually cut off this. This was like 1 inch thicker, and I took 1 inch off there, so it's not quite so thick. And it could potentially last for quite some time. It's a good solid pole now. So we'll just have to see how it goes. This old machine is pretty rough shape as far in some ways. You can see someone years ago before I bought it had broke it or thought it was broke or whatever, and they welded on that big hunk of steel there. I've done this on other mow machines before. Sometimes these are loose and they rattle, so I put that piece of inner tube in there to keep it quiet. I noticed I must have stowed a guard out of here last year, so I had to put another guard in right here, and I didn't have these better tie downs. I must have used one of them too, so I gotta get another one of them. So I put just the old type tie down in, and over here I see that the cover or clip or whatever you want to call it that's usually over here is not here, but I bet it wasn't there even last year, so I think it'll still work fine. And those knives, they don't look too bad. but it is hard cutting, so it may or may not work. But I'm just gonna go out. It's almost supper time anyway, so I'm just gonna go out and try it a little bit, and then put the horses away, and they'll be done for the night. And then I can decide. I gotta cut hay tomorrow. I can decide if I want to use this mower or the other mower. I'm sure I'm going to be alone tomorrow, and that's okay. So we'll get the bar up and get the horses hitched on. As with any equipment, you're always breaking it. Always a need for repairing it. And this mower here, this piece right here is broke. That will go in like that. And this right here actually is there to catch this piece. Hope you can see it. This piece right here, because when you lift this bar up, that cutter bar will just want to slide right down. And if there's nothing to catch that, it'll fall right to the ground. So I've needed a piece like this for a while, and I must have got it last year. I can't even remember. I know I put a new one on the other one. And so I need to put this one on here. I'm not going to do it right now, but because I don't have that, I take a piece of baler twine or something and just tie the pitman up. So when I lift this up, it won't fall down too far. It'll stop. You'll see what I mean, maybe. So if that twine wasn't holding this up, this pitman rod would just drop right to the ground, and when I lifted the tongue up, when I hitched them up, that would drop all the farther, and that cutter bar will actually go right down and hit the ground. And that will cause troubles, obviously. I also know that I have to, my shoes, I gotta lower these shoes for cutting the second cutting, but I'm not gonna do that tonight. Okay.
Of course, being a new tongue, we don't know exactly what link we need to be hitched onto with the evener, so it takes a little bit of experiment to get it tight enough.
Okay, we're all hitched up. That way I have that tongue, it's not going to affect them at all, that I can see. Shouldn't be a problem. So I will just set up this camera and you can see how it works. Or if it works. Okay, we found that it mows weeds very nicely. I should call it quits, but I'm gonna try and see if it will cut any serious grass. I'm gonna try and make it around one time.
Well, it worked great. I hope you enjoyed the video. Now I just have to hurry up and get these horses put away and fed and get inside for supper, or Brenda's going to be mad.